Hello, everyone. This is Steve Marinucci, and I'm with Kristi Leigh, the author of the forthcoming book, Across Their Universe, The Secret Lives of Beatle Fans. And we're going to talk about the book and how you can participate in the book. And I hope you will. Kristi, welcome.
Thank you.
How did this get started? How did this whole thing get started?
Back in the late 90s, after Anthology had come out on TV, my entire family, including my very young children at the time, expressed a newfound interest in the Beatles, and I thought it would be interesting to put a book together compiling people's stories about how they became interested in the Beatles. At the time, this was before social media, so I was involved in a lot of online Beatles fan groups, and I was able to cull a lot of people's stories from there. Some people sent me original stories, and some sent me stories they'd already published online. All of them were published with their permission. But this time around, I wanted to create something that reflected people who might be new fans since 2004, which is when the book was published.
How old would you say the youngest and the oldest fans are?
In this current edition of the book, the youngest, I believe, is 16 at the time. And the oldest, they don't really give ages. The younger people tend to give their ages more than older people do. But I believe in this incarnation of the book, the original version, 16 was the youngest.
What you're doing now is you're updating the first edition and you're putting
Yeah,
out an expanded second edition.
that's
Um,
correct.
One of the wonderful things about the Beatles is that they've been able to bring in many fans who were born years, even decades after the Ed Sullivan Show. What do you think caused that? Why have the younger fans been so attracted to them?
I think starting with Anthology in the mid 90s, and then with Paul and George, all of them individually so prolific, through they just keep that machine going. And I think people are picking up on that through the years. Paul, having done so many different types of music, techno music, oratorio, classical music, standard pop, and I think younger people are picking up on that. And I think Paul, of all of the four, appeals probably most to younger people because he's got this broad swath of music that he does. He's not afraid to experiment. So I think that reaches to a lot of people of different ages and age groups.
Do the fans that you've gotten your stories from have a favorite Beatle?
In the book, overwhelmingly, John is the favorite Beatle.
How about a favorite song?
So many people mention so many different songs. I would say probably an album that most people like the best is Revolver, Beatles for Sale, and Abbey Road. I think those three seem to be mentioned the most in the book.
That's interesting. Now you're putting an updated version of the book, and it's not out yet. And you, the viewer or the listener, depending on how you're getting this, can participate. And how can people participate? What are your guidelines for sending in stories?
Guidelines are very loose. I'm just looking for people who love the Beatles. If you've ever been to a concert, if you've ever met a Beatle, if you've ever met all four Beatles, collected any of their memorabilia or albums, anything you want to talk about why you're a fan. Tell me about your fandom. What drew you to them and what keeps you loving them? I want to hear your stories.
Have you,
Yeah, they don't have to be very, you can write a couple paragraphs. Just let us know how the Beatles have affected your life.
do you have any celebrities in the book?
I've got a couple people in here that might be very familiar to people in our Beatles circle.
Okay. What's your deadline for getting stories?
Ideally, I'd like to have them in by May 31st. I could probably extend it to the end of the first week of June, but I really do want to get this published no later than the middle of June.
Okay. And how can people send them to you? What's your email address that you want to have people send these to you?
They can send them to me at KL Siegel
Thank you, Kristi.